Now, shopping centers use the same principle of clustering that we saw with manufacturing. The maximum access to the maximum choice. So if you're in smaller stores, but often in big stores, clustering together makes a lot of sense to draw in a huge number of customers who will shop, comparison shop, do variety shopping, all in a locale. And the first kind of clustering of shops was the downtown of big cities. Fifth Avenue in New York, State Street in Chicago, Union Square in San Francisco. With suburbanization and much more automobile-driven shopping, you got shopping strips out along, well, actually they start with streetcars, but we'll skip over that, the cars, and you've seen these everywhere. You go on a freeway exit, and they're all the fast foods and the gas stations. And you see this over and over and over again. Or you go up San Pablo Avenue, and you got a kind of shopping strip. Telegraph is Telegraph's more like a downtown. So there's a collective logic here, just like in manufacturing, where you are not just thinking about your customers, you're thinking about many customers and many stores all simultaneously trying to optimize the location, so they gather together. And it works over and over and over again. If you're in cars, it's a linear cluster. If you're on foot, it tends to be clumped around things like BART stations. And it has the same theory as having a large single store. That is variety, access, comparison, and presumably lower prices as a result. Okay, downtowns peak in around 1900 to certainly before the Great Depression, downtowns peak, both in small towns and in big cities. And a lot of that is driven by streetcars, because they all came into the downtown of Oakland or the downtown of San Francisco. Today, San Francisco still has a cluster like this, and it's overwhelmingly due to tourism. And the tourists don't go very far, and they all end up at Union Square at some time in their visit, which, by the way, is close to the hotels, which is close to the convention centers, so everybody comes and shops at Union Square to this day, even though you may not go there, or people from Palo Alto don't go there anymore. Plenty of people still go there, and it's still a huge shopping downtown district. Shopping strips are the auto age. They really rose by the 1920s. With streetcars, actually, you see them in the teens already. And you're all plenty familiar with those. And one thing you also saw in the landscape was big signs like Fry's that are going to catch your eye as you're driving by at 50 miles an hour. So these kind of signs are ubiquitous. And there was a time in the early 20th century where building stores that looked like brown derbies or orange, half an orange or a hot dog or whatever was very popular too to catch people's eyes. Malls, of course, malls and shopping centers are a way of clustering with one owner putting this all together. One developer will build a space with a giant parking lot, all the infrastructure. It's like an industrial park. A shopping center is an industrial park for retail stores. Oh, I like that analogy. Should have used it before. So, they often have a big anchor store and a lot of little stores. And you know these better than I do. And by the 1980s, you start to get regional malls. This is a picture of Blackhawk Center that were even more elaborate, even larger. So the scale of these things has gone up and up and up over time. Okay, towns and cities. Well, towns have always been retail centers, not just the downtown, but the whole town. The reason you have small towns in a rural world is often simply because they are centers for shopping and services to an agricultural hinterland. And that would still be true of towns. This is an old picture, I think, of Wairika. Places like that, or Mount Shasta, or Ukiah, still serve this kind of a function. Now, there's another kind of small town in America, which is a manufacturing small town, which may serve both functions. And again, old central place theory said, then certain kinds of things like hardware and will be ubiquitous, maybe dentists, well, maybe not. In the smallest town, you'll have a general food store and a hardware, something like that. And in slightly bigger towns, you'll include the doctor and the dentist, so you have to travel a little farther for them, and so on, more specialty stores. The more you go up the hierarchy, the more specialized stuff you'll find. And cities, of course, the great shopping centers of cities are themselves like malls. A mall is an attempt to reproduce the city in the suburbs. But the first great shopping areas and the first great outlets for retail were cities. And when you look at old Impressionist painting, the boulevards of Paris are all about shopping. It's window shopping, sitting in cafes, strolling around showing off your new clothes. And this was fantastically interesting in the age of the Impressionists. They were looking at the city that had just been rebuilt in the Second Empire and going, good Lord, this is really bizarre. This is sort of fantastic, and they painted it. This is an arcade in Paris from the first half of the 19th century. These very, very showy, beautiful kind of alleyways covered over with lots of shops. Or you think of just life on the street in New York, even to this day, if you walk on down Fifth Avenue, it's this giant kind of mall, and this feeling of being in the middle of huge crowds going to shop. And malls themselves are like mini cities. So these regional malls are so large, you can spend your life there. Teenagers grow up there. Mothers grow up, spend their lives there with their kids and shopping, keeping the family going and so on when you're in the burbs. And something like this, the Taipei 101 Tower has, I think, 5 different malls in it. 3, I don't remember. I was in there, but I can't remember. So it's like the whole building is a giant mall in the middle, one of the tallest buildings for a while in the world, and it's like a giant mall. So, and then you get attempts. This is Santana Walk in San Jose. I think it's a drawing of it. Is that actually a picture? Or I think it's a mock-up. Which is an attempt to recreate urban life, Bay Street in Emeryville. Let's create that old downtown in a kind of suburb, make people feel like they're back walking in a city. So malls as cities. And in fact, the one in LA, of course, is called City Walk. But with all these big malls, with all big stores, giant box stores and so on, small town retail has been annihilated across America, even some big town. Here, Emeryville got all the big box stores, it got Bay Street, and it helped annihilate what was left of downtown Oakland and downtown Berkeley. So shops that would have been downtown Berkeley are now in Emeryville. That's where you go. That's where the kids go to shop, to get their ears pierced or whatever it is. And Walmart, of course, has been guilty of a lot of this. It's not the only one, but Lichtenstein talks about that a bit, the annihilation of small-town retailing. There's been some efforts to keep Walmart at bay, keep big box. Vermont has a law that keeps out big box. San Francisco has a zoning law that keeps it out of the neighborhoods, although it's now come into places like South Market and South Market, the old industrial areas. But they couldn't even get in there for a long time in San Francisco because people wanted to have that older kind of shopping experience. That was part of why they moved to San Francisco for or had grown up with. But in the U.S., it's very weak. We had a huge movement to stop the grocery chains and the supermarkets in the late 30s, which almost got congressional legislation. But that was back in the New Deal when people actually did things politically. And now we're politically moribund, so the idea of actually questioning Walmart doesn't even cross your mind. In fact, you've just grown up thinking, worshiping at the altar of Walmart, right? Well, hopefully a few of you not had another Berkeley experience. And now going global, new retail spaces, you're getting these global chains spreading around, reproducing themselves. In every mall, you see the same stores. Occasionally you get somebody new, like IKEA, that just blows out of Sweden unexpectedly and is everywhere now with these big box furniture stores. Zara, which is now the biggest retailer in the world, clothing retailer in the world, comes out of Galicia, who would have ever guessed that, took over in Europe and now is around the world. And of course, if you're a retailer, the new frontier is Asia. This is where the new money is because it's where it's industrializing. It's getting more affluent while we're going nowhere. And Europe's not going anywhere either. So there's a lot of market saturation for the retailers here, so they want to go to Asia. And then a lot of new Asian retailers popping up, who start in Japan and end up and down East Asia or start in Hong Kong. And I wish I had an example, but I can't think of one. That's that Japanese department stores all over. It's in Hong Kong, Taipei. Anybody know? Any East Asians? What? I can't hear you over the fan, sorry. Kinokuniya is a bookseller? Oh, okay. Okay, there's a good one. Thanks. Also, you'll notice when you go to Asia, what's impressive is the malls are bigger, sleeker, fancier. The shopping is even more maniacal. The fashion consciousness. Asia is where it's happening in retail, in a sense. Makes Paris look sleepy. Well, not really sleepy, but San Francisco is just like Hodunksville. Okay. If you're going global, of course, you have to deal with local differences. And it turns out it's not always so easy to go global. So if you're going into Europe and you're an American retailer like Walmart, you may run into some bumps in the road. And indeed you do. The Europeans have different chains, have their own chains that they're more allied to, that they recognize, have brand name recognition and so on. The largest supermarket chain in the world is Carrefour out of France, not Safeway or Walmart or any of ours. They have different rules. They have rules like everybody, and some of them are written in law and some of them are custom. Everybody closes on Sunday, at least after 1 o'clock. So it doesn't open up till late Monday in France. In Germany, they have limits on the hours. So, and people like to shop more in the old towns. The towns haven't been emptied out as much. Pardon me? Oh, and they close for lunch. Yeah, a lot of closing for lunch at little stores. That'll drive an American batty, Although it's less true than it used to be, but it's still true in places. You're just amazed. Supermarkets aren't open on Sunday. What? It's just astounding. And Walmart had a lot of trouble with that. Walmart abandoned its attempt to get into Germany. Now, Germany, as you may remember, is now the fourth largest economy in the world. It's a hell of a market. Walmart would love to be there, and it pulled out. And it was a combination of being bested by German stores. Girls, could you pay attention, you two? Bested by German stores. Rules. A big advantage of big chains and big stores is simply they can stay open longer. Little stores where it's just mom and pop, you can't stay open all the time. You get exhausted. You have to close. So if you have any laws that protect those little people, that takes a lot of the stuffing out of the big ones. And Walmart doesn't mean anything to Germans. To you, you say, oh, wow, I know what that is. Now, it's true that Germans will recognize McDonald's and Coca-Cola, and they'll drink Coke, and they'll go to hamburger. They'll go to McDonald's. In France, they go to McDonald's. They love it. Pizza Hut. Can't believe it. Big success in France. So it's not like you can't do it, but there are barriers, and you have to be aware of that. You're going into Asia, you see this in the business press all the time about the poor Western retailers having a hell of a time breaking into Asia. Why? Because Asia is still a land of small stores. Even Japan, which is totally modern, has these rules to protect small stores, because the Liberal Democrats, the ruling party of Japan, got reelected for 50 years. It finally lost its grip on power in the 2000s, but it did it by protecting small farmers and small business people, and then conservatives in general, and the business class all voted Liberal Democrats, and they always won. So it was a part of their alliance, and they had laws to protect those little people. And if you look at productivity figures for Japan, per person productivity for the whole economy is much lower than the United States. Now that might surprise you. If you didn't know that that's not talking about manufacturing. Their per person productivity in manufacturing is the highest in the world. But when you add in all these little stores, they have very, low sales per worker. So that's low productivity. India has the Reliance Industries Group is the only big retailer. By the way, they're having troubles right now. Their stock price is falling. China, 90% of everything is through small shops. Look like this. They still have those kind of bazaars, external shops. Taipei is full of small stores, just chock-a-block. So even though they've got Taipei 101, most of Taipei is these kind of market areas, streets full of small shops. And Walmart just couldn't deal with it. So they pulled out of China too, I believe. They have like one store left, kind of just keep a foothold in case they want to go back. Okay, behind storefront, let's get to this. This is going to sound very familiar, so I don't want to take too much time on it because you've heard it. What the retailers do is what we've already talked about in distribution, large-scale, efficient distribution and supply chains. Now, first thing that retail stores did to renovate themselves and become big players in capitalism was to have bigger stores and then to go chain. And the first chains are the grocery chains. And that's why when I talked about the A&P as a certain kind of systems revolution, A&P was the first of the great grocery store chains starting around 1910. And by 1930, this is a done deal. And America has chain stores. When no place on earth has chain stores, we have chain stores. Other things follow, like gas stations and car dealerships. And then after World War II, maybe by the 40s, the department stores start to chain. Sears starts building everywhere. Pennies. These go all over the country. They'd had sometimes a few stores in two or three big cities by then, but they really went into all the suburban malls and so on. And the chains are all kinds of chains. The lords of the chains are, of course, Walmart, the biggest corporation in the world right now in employment, probably in sales too. But we know about the fast food chains. That's a very famous type of chain. The clothing chains, the fast foods chained in the 60s, roughly. McDonald's starts a little earlier than that. There's actually chains. You can get little bits of chains in the 30s and 40s, A&W and so on. But they take over and become ubiquitous by the 1960s. The clothing stores chain in the 1980s. Department stores in the 1960s. And the big box stores are a fairly recent story in the last 30 years. I mean, they have origins go a little bit back farther, but not very far. Kmart used to be Kroger's grocery chain and transformed itself. Target is a spin-off from who? They're a spin-off from somebody else in the Midwest, some grocer or something in the Midwest. And, of course, Walmart, which comes out of Arkansas. Now, what are the advantages of chains? Well, you know what you're going to get at McDonald's. It's standardized, it's branded, it's advertised. You know exactly what you're getting when you go there. Or Wendy's or any of the fast foods. That's the whole idea, is you never have to wonder, well, if I eat at Joe's, will it be a greasy spoon? Will it be a great experience? If it's a one-off little mom-and-pop diner or something. There's like all kinds of economies of modern management, just like in all big corporations. You get better accounting, you have shared overhead and computing, and so on. And again, standardization. Size is also a huge advantage in terms of writing out bad times. You make a mistake with one of your stores, and the whole chain doesn't go down. If you mislocate your coffee shop and you're just a one-off store, you're screwed. If Starbucks comes in next to you, you're screwed. If you happen to be at best Starbucks, which happened, Starbucks pulled out of North Shattuck because people preferred to go elsewhere. Actually, usually Pete's, which itself chain, okay? But they pulled out, so they're not always successful, okay? They don't always win. But for Starbucks, it's just a blip, a setback. But if it's your one-off coffee shop, it's over. And, of course, a very big advantage is distribution and supply, which we'll get to. Franchise chains are a very peculiar kind of chain, which McDonald's, all the fast foods use this, hotels like Holiday Inn and all use this, Ramada Inn. They actually don't own the hotel. It's a franchise. And the building is built by one group of investors. A management group may come in and management. They get the franchise from Holiday Inn. They're trained by Holiday Inn in how to fold the sheets and how to order. Holiday Inn or McDonald's, of course, will actually provide the hamburgers. They'll send you to Hamburger U, which they have to train you. They'll also provide all the supplies, like buns and Coke and, or is it Pepsi, whatever it is, frozen fries and so on. And all you have to do is run the production operation. They do everything else for you. They'll tell you where to get insurance and so on. Some of them, they're so clever that they actually build the store, buy the land, build the store, and then lease it. And they just make money off you as the lessee. And you think that you're an independent business person, which of course all Americans want to be, and you run the local McDonald's. That's why, in the ads they say, well, you can go to McDonald's and you get a toy for your kid, Barney toy or something, with some exceptions, right, in the ads. That's because not all the local affiliates necessarily do it. Yeah, now we have chains of chains, and so on and so on and so on. We have malls like Westfield Mall, which is a chain of malls, which specializes in these mega malls and with all their chain stores. And so it goes, on and on. Distribution. Big advantage of chains is you get rid of the old style merchant wholesalers that would distribute to the small mom and pop stores. You used to have big produce markets in every big city in the world, and fish markets and butcher towns, where they would go and pick up the meat, pick up the fresh fruit and vegetables, and take it back or get it delivered to their small store in Noe Valley or wherever it was in the old days. And some of those stores are still there and still doing that in San Francisco. But out in the burbs, of course, it's all big stores. So the older model is less efficient. You have to pay the middleman a profit, and the big chains simply take away that middleman profit, do it themselves. So you get vertical integration. And we saw this before when we talked about certain big manufacturing companies. Well, these big chains do it as retailers. So they're big capitalists too. So advantages: internalize profits, internalize management, rationalize your stock and flow in your logistics, rationalize the geography. The secret to Walmart, as Lichtenstein points out, the greatest thing they did was their warehouse distribution system. And they would never put stores beyond the reach, I forget what it was, 50 miles, 100 miles, from their distribution center. It was kind of like the Toyota system in reverse. Instead of the supplies coming in from close, well, in a way to say, the stores were all getting their supplies from close by. So you could restock quickly, you weren't wasting gas on getting stuff to them. You could stock the big warehouse and run a whole dozens of stores in a whole region. And when they came into California, they did the same thing. They moved their warehouses into California and then started putting stores in the coastal cities and all around. So it's all very rationalized and extremely efficient. And even more so if you're a catalog store, which isn't exactly a chain, but it's the catalog stores like Amazon and internet ones. Their secret is a great distribution system. So that's the point. Amazon does it by distribution. They don't do it by having, oh, come on, their website is so dorky. But I think, because most websites are pretty dorky, actually. But the secret of it is they can get those books and they can get them to you or whatever it is, movies, zip, zippity, zip.
How do the prices so low? Wasn't really always 9 out of 10 lowest price items.
Okay, how the prices are so low? A, they buy in bulk from the publishers, and they have monopsony power. They're very powerful because every publisher, you don't want to screw with Amazon, or you're not going to sell your books. So the publishers will give them deals. Say, well, okay, they'll negotiate. They'll say, okay, we'll buy 100 different titles from you, or 1,000 titles, and the publishers are pushing, take more titles, we'll give you a bigger discount. So they get discounts, mass discounts. Then, of course, the whole system of distribution is so efficient. Then they don't have stores, so they don't have to pay lease, they don't have to pay rent on their little bookstore, and all those things make it cheaper. And they don't have to pay sales tax. And finally, retailers have become huge supply chain operators. Okay, they contract their supply. This is older. I mean, some of the innovations that we now think of as global outsourcing, Safeway and A&P actually invented, and Sears, the idea of outsourcing certain products and then putting your own label on it. This goes back to like Safeway buying a big milk distributor in Oakland when they were a small chain, local chain in the 1920s. That way they could provide fresh milk in their refrigerated cases when nobody else had that. No other stores had that. And then they did meat and they did packaging. So everywhere you go, you see these kind of store labels, which are subcontracted to various producers. Yeah.
Other companies that have substituted products that the same thing manufacturing and then they sell them to retailers.
Okay. No, store labels are usually just